hija, notloch, tosepa, ma tinechkakis. In our people's original culture, the Chichimechayot, before our people's colonization during the 3rd, 4th, and 5th ages by the Teypohs'weepeehl giants and the various descendants whom created the semi-sedentary civilized cultures of the quote-unquote American Southwest and Central and South America. We did not have a Tisique society. We did not have a Teypohs'weepeehl society, which means we did not have healers. We did not have herbalists or doctors. We only had the various Nahuali societies, like the Tlachixhe, those who unyieldingly gaze, the Mecha Teypohs'weepeehl, those whom divine with yucca and animal tendon string, the Tlachecheloche, the trickster societies, the sacred fool societies, the Tlachacholoche, the Owlman society, shapeshifters, the Teypohs'weepeehl, the water diviners, and many other medicine societies whom you may understand as shaman, as sorcerers, whose purpose was dealing with the subtle, etheric, or spiritual realms of reality, because the physical was simple for our people. And with our original way of life, with our original hunter-gatherer culture and customs and tradition, in the way in which Creator had made us and left us to fulfill our techiot, our sacred incarnative function, our physical, energetic, and mental health was never in need of remedy or respite. Because when one is living in harmony with the natural world, living in harmony with one's own natural ecology, observing and living by the original instructions and natural laws which were given to our people by Ipalne Mohani, by Moyo Khoyani, by Creator, by the great mystery, by this earth itself, when one is living by this, one does not experience physical and energetic disharmony and disease or sickness. And if one does, it is by supernatural phenomenon, which requires a supernatural response. Thus, in our original culture and tradition of the second age, we never required a society or culture of healers, of herbalists, of doctors. So we had them not. For the whole of the second age and through the beginning of the third age, we only had Nahuali, shaman, as all ancient and original indigenous hunter-gatherer cultures have the initiated traditions of, and it is only us who have ever had them. It is only us who have kept them, the authentic pronunciation and expressions and the initiated schools of. It is only civilized cultures, or cultures whom carry the scar of colonization, of civilization, whom carry a tradition of healers, which even my culture, after our colonization and enslavement during the third age, when we were forced to live a life disconnected from the natural world, unable to keep the original instructions, unable to live with the natural, free and wild animals and trees and plants, deeply interwoven in our life with them, unable to move with the ebb and flow of the natural world, unable to move with the stars and seasons, unable to keep our migratory roots following the Tlamachaska Matzat, the pronghorn, the Huahuawe, the buffalo, the Achashoti Matzat, the elk, the Pipiolin, the bees, the Michtli, the fish, the Astatzintli, the heron. But now living as slaves, as miners, farmers, soldiers, sacrificial offerings, citizens, subjects, priests, builders, and workers, forced to live a semi-sedentary culture under a ruling class of colonizers, forced to live the Masehualiot, the slave or plebeian way of life imposed upon us during the 3rd, 4th, and 5th ages. It was only then that we were forced to develop the methods, sciences, and modes of medicine used to temporarily combat the symptoms and ramifications of living the disharmonious, unnatural, imposed dietary and lifestyle practices as civilians in servitude to the Teypohs'weepeehl giants and their descendants, and the cultures in which they created. Thus, then the Tisique societies were born. The Teypohs'weepeehl societies were born. The doctors, the healers, the herbalists, the energy and breath workers, whose type of practices you can now see widespread even within the modern civilized Western world. One must understand, relatives, if one lives in a society and culture in which healers and herbalists are required, paramount, held in high esteem, or if one's culture and society has a long tradition of healers and herbalists, one must understand that by definition, one's culture and society is innately sick, and at its very core in a state of disease and disharmony, and has been so for a very long time. Please understand, relatives, true healing addresses the very root of one's imbalance, disharmony, and disease, and moves to create this balance, both internally and externally, so that one no longer needs systems of external, energetic, physical, herbal, and medicinal manipulation of one's physical and energetic vessel to provide daily temporary reprieve and respite from the very symptoms of living a life out of sync with the natural world and one's original natural form, function, state, and way of life. Living against the original instructions in which we were given to live in this place, to keep harmony, to move with the ebb and flow of the cosmos, to keep our symbiotic, interdependent relationship with the world around us, so that we would not harm things, we would not stifle the soul growth of the world around us. You see, if one is living in harmony with one's own natural environment, as close to the original instructions as one may, one will find one does not need to meddle with the physical and energetic vessel. One does not need to systematically troubleshoot the never-ending energetic and physical symptoms and ramifications of living outside of one's own natural state, form, function, environment, and original relationship to and with the rest of the natural living, breathing world. Living in this way, living as close as one can to the adherence of the original instructions, which means the life way and the dietary, custom, and traditional practices of our people, one will find that one is no longer burdened with any of the friction in which one will experience when one lives in ignorance of the natural laws and in ignorance of the very nature of one's own natural incarnative form, shape, and function within this realm as two-leggeds, as human beings.